One of the biggest problems traders face these days is trading too much, being on the charts, over analyzing. Today I'm going to show you how to trade 1 hour a day and get funded, make the most out of your lifestyle while still being able to trade. So let's get into it. 2019 to 23, a different realm in my life, completely different period where I just lost. And I could put it down to the strategy in itself. Maybe it wasn't simple enough. I was over analysing the charts, but that all comes with being on for a session. I'm not going to say you can't be profitable trading the session. There's so many traders that make money trading a period of the day. There's obviously benefits to it, like you're not having to be on the charts after your trade. You're in and out, and then you're not worrying about it the rest of the day. But you are dedicating a significant period to that. I would sit there for 4 hours, sometimes take 2-3 trades. I would a lot of the time feel like if I wasn't trading, then I was doing something wrong. And now I know that couldn't be further from the truth. Sitting out is probably the best thing a lot of the time. So I'd sit there and just wonder why it wasn't working. I've got a few reasons why. First key one, many traders do it. Every trader has done it at some point. You're working a job. I was going to work 3 days a week at 7:30. So I'm trading whilst at work. When I was in the lower time frames as well, I was stressing so much over looking at my phone. I should be focused at work. I shouldn't be looking on my phone. And that took away from my trading so much, created unnecessary stress. I didn't need that at the time. Staring at price action like a hawk. I was just making things up in my head. When you look at the chart for too long, you just get analysis paralysis. You just lose focus of what at the start of the day your intentions were. And then by the end of the day, you took a trade that maybe wasn't in your intentions. And again, a lot of it comes back to this phase of my life. I was going through a lot of different things, whether that be personally, whether that be how I was working, changing up my routine and stuff. But this period of time, I learned so much about my trading. Ultimately, I was just feeling like I was taking too much time on the charts. That was stressing me out. And as a result, it just didn't work out. Trading then started to feel more like a job. The biggest thing I want to take away from when you're trading is you want to enjoy it. And some days, at least 50% of the days, there won't be a good move. You can't always take a trade. Taking a trade doesn't mean you're going to do well. And it did start to feel more of a chore than anything else. Taking that long out of your day when you're working a full-time job, then you're getting caught up in where's my time going? My time is just too consumed on the charts. And for a lot of traders, you don't need that. You really don't. What did I learn from this then? Going into the next phase. I sat there in 2023. I had the job. I said, right, the hours that I work, I'm not trading. What does that mean? Either I trade MY session, I could trade MYSE. Again, I could trade MYSE for 3 hours a day. But I decided that I need to take a higher time frame approach. I said, what times am I available to trade? Every day, Monday to Friday, I can trade between the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. 6 a.m. to 7:30 maybe. This meant an hour and a half. I'm not even coming into London session. So I'm not going to maximise the moves from London session if I'm not available at 8 o'clock in the morning, UK time. So I realised I've got to look to potentially start changing the way I did things. If I'm trading that long, 6 to 4 hours a day, where's my time going to improve my edge? Where's my time going to be able to journal up trades and actually improve upon that? I felt like it was just taken away from my life a lot, and a lot of traders will feel this. They're not quite aligned with the way they really want to do things, but they feel like there's no other way out. And a lot of the time traders will get too caught up in holding a strategy forever because they hear these traders will tell you stop strategy hopping. And as a result of that, you stick with one thing for so long, like I did. 4 years I traded the same way and expected a different result. And that is the definition of insanity, isn't it? What does a day in the life look like when I'm full-time? This was a game changer for me because I realised at that point, when I'm full-time, what's my aim? To get out of the working realm. If I'm sitting there for 4 hours a day, that's a part-time job, in my opinion. If I wanted to do that, what would I do? I'd go into an investment bank. I would learn to sit there for 10 hours a day, understand everything that was going on minute by minute, micromanaging fundamentals, releasing news, reading up about the news. A lot of traders don't have time to do that. So I realised at that point, I have to change because I don't want to trade 4 hours a day moving forward. This book here changed my life. The 4-Hour Work Week, Escape the 9 to 5, Live Anywhere and Join the New Rich. And it completely aligned with the idea that I had. If I want to travel the world and live anywhere, working less may benefit me more. This book goes into detail about how you can maximize your output doing less hours. It's not to say that you will be working 4 hours a week. For a lot of people, it's not realistic. But it's the same principle applies, doesn't it? If you're working 40 hours a week, you're trading 20 hours a week, 60 hours a week, can you get burnt out and stressed out? 100%. 4-hour work week means doing less, taking time to make the most of the time that you have. And as a result of that, they talk about mini retirements in this, and I love this. It's like you're working at periods, you're spending time developing new ways of making money. At certain periods, you take a mini retirement. You continue to do this throughout your life rather than working the whole time and then taking one big retirement. I recommend anyone to read this book. It really does put a lot of things into perspective. Some books, and I'd say the books that have made the most difference in my trading journey haven't even been trading related. They've been lifestyle related, entrepreneurial related. Another question you need to ask yourself is, does the way of trading you're currently trading align with your personality? A lot of traders will join a group and they focus on how that trader trades. That is the way. There isn't necessarily a, well, I can take something out of this guy and I can learn it in my own way and apply different parts of what I'm learning from other traders into my own style. They have to go, right, this trader trading 1 hour, so I've got to trade 1 hour, or this is a 5-minute strategy. The market is fractal. It will work across multiple different time frames. You can incorporate a way of trading if you backtest it on any time frame, and you can go up the time frames and you can be just as successful doing that. Finally, when we come into this last one, the solution that I ended up going for, I spoke about it. I wanted to spend minimal time on the charts to create lifestyle freedom. My goal moving forward in the later stages of 2026, 2027 is to move away to Asia, be able to live a lifestyle that I don't have to worry about trading all the time. I want to be able to help traders out as well. That involves more time. So again, taking time away from my own trading that's still maximized efficiency to help other traders with what they're doing as well. That's my overall goal. So no wonder why I've moved from that. Realized entry is not important as stop loss. Another big thing. Traders are too focused on the lower time frames a lot of the time to get a perfect entry. A lot of the time, you could even call it on the higher time frames. They're trying to call a top, they're trying to call a bottom. What you need to do is you need to sit there and go, what's more important, entry or stop loss? Stop loss, when you're setting a position, you're setting an entry where, okay, this price level might hit. The stop loss is covering the whole area. And when I do this now, I always feel comfortable because I've got breathing room in my stop loss. This means I'm on the higher time frames, I can create a zone and I can let the trade play out. How do I go about my days now? Moving forward into 2024, 2025, the time that everything changed in my trading, I got funded 100k within a month of doing this. And from there, I've been able to acquire another $500,000 in capital. I stuck to a 1.5 hour. This sometimes is 1, sometimes is 2. The idea is to do your bulk of your work on the weekly outlook. I set positions on the weekly and the daily, and I'm going to show you how I do that to finish off. I set the positions, I read through fundamentals from last week and the upcoming week, how that could impact price. And for the week, I've got exact way of how I want to take trades, what I'm looking for. That way, 90% of the work's already done. I'm just waiting for what will play out on the charts over the time that I'm in work, over the time that I'm sleeping. All of these things will allow price to play out. Then you're ready when you come on in the morning to make a decision based on the higher time frames. And look, I trade higher time frames, weekly and daily, as I said. Every day I do come on. So it's important to keep a routine. Every day, it's easy when you're on the higher time frames to just focus on, I'm going to come on every other day, whatever. But the 30-minute daily outlook for me, where I write down what happened yesterday, keeps me aligned with what's happening day by day. And I'm able to identify, do we have confirmations or not? So as we come into the charts now, let's go into this. A perfect example then of trading this way is going into this week on EU. I did take trades during this period as well in the live market. What we can see is simply put, we have these weekly liquidity highs to take out. First off being the currently high, second one to the left. I've got a weekly confirmation. So on the weekly, I'm looking for a move based on a pullback for the week. I'm identifying where the low of the week will be within the zone. I'm not caring about if I get the low of the week. I'm trusting the weekly. For example, this one. I'm understanding that if I'm looking for a bottom wick for the week, first of all, I've got to identify, are we going to break previous weekly low? My idea was this low here, which didn't even have a wick, was not going to be broken. So I'm already looking for a trade above that. On the weekly, we can see we've got a few areas. Weekly imbalance fill, we've got that. We may come and take that out. We also do have a order block area here. Let's mark this in. So we've got these two areas. I can look for a trade off this. Then I'll go on the daily time frame to see if we get any more POIs within that. I don't think we did. The reason being is because we formed these and the imbalance fills got completed there and we didn't have any POIs in here. We know then, current into this week, we have a weekly confirmation. So I'm first of all betting on the fact there's a higher time frame potential pullback setup. We're going to base this on an entry around the imbalance fill, I believe. I'm covering half this weekly. This shouldn't be a daily, it should be a weekly. And that's it. I'm basing this trade to trade up to the highs. It's a little bit laggy, bear with me. Don't know why it's lagging, but we're looking for the move up to the highs. This is the trade I've set. On the medium time frame, I'm looking for a daily confirmation. Price is engulfed. We can play a move to the overall yearly highs based on a Monday as well. So I've got a trade on the weekly, expecting the previous weekly low to be respected. I am also looking for a move if it runs off the medium time frame, expecting the previous daily low to be respected. Yet again, I don't have to be right. If the previous daily low doesn't get respected, I can lose a trade and it can pull back deeper. But I need to set positions and stack them down because I am expecting the overall bias to come up to the high. If we go onto the 1 hour, this is where I'd set a position going into Monday. And I'm already setting this up on the previous week because it did form a confirmation on the Friday. We can see that we've got a weird leg over here. One thing I like, and we can break this down even further on the 1 hour, is I'm looking to identify a Fibonacci leg based on a high formed. Now, we had a pullback here, and we have not took this high out. I'm looking at this overall being a leg from the low to the high. One thing I can identify, if we were to mark this across, is these are the highs here. We did, in fact, actually break the high there. So we have got a new leg. So we may not come and take this out as an inducement. But I think at an entry, because of where the POIs were, there isn't a POI in here apart from this one down here. So I am still going to look for entry below that. And that's where I did take another buy position, setting this up. Let's just take it off that. Again, I'm covering the low. So I'm covering that daily low, expecting that this low won't be broken, but we did have a low of the leg there. So based on the medium and the higher time frame, I've got two positions here for the week. Let's see how we played out. So I've already got two positions set. I'm coming on to Monday morning. I'm setting all of the higher time frames, and in this case, the medium time frame position as well. We are looking for that continuation. The medium time frame move is based on that 1 day, and we did not get a pullback. So this trade was taken off. We got two pullbacks, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're still in the move. Boom. Get the entry there. So we're in the position now. We had a trade there on the Thursday. We've got an engulfing bullish candle. So we've clearly seen there, the low of the week has been set. I'm expecting price to run up. So on the Friday, I'm coming on to the day. I'm looking for another move off the 1 hour. So let's see what we can get on the Friday. As we come into this day then, to set another position, I'm looking for the leg to be respected. I've marked up the fib. I'm looking at this order block fair value gap area because it's where we had a big significant push of volume in coming into the market. So I'm going to see how Agent sets up, and then I'm going to look at setting my position at 6, 7 o'clock when I come on. So we identified this area, obviously. Will we get a pullback to here? So what I'm looking at here is, can I get the risk to reward? If I can't, then that's no worry. But I clearly can. Within this 1 hour, 50%, I can get the move. So I'm setting a position here, covering the low. I'm looking to cover the order block here, playing back up to the high. So we've got double running position here, stacking positions now because when price is clearly trending, you want to be maximizing your positions because the higher chance that there will be winners is going to happen than if you're going to lose. Some traders don't like stacking their positions, but good traders add to winning positions, I would say. So we can see here, we did actually tap 50%. So I'm not even on the charts. We've got tapped into the position there later in the day, and that's the week done. So I did then obviously see the weekly candle close bullish. Week bearish actually. So we closed week bearish. The following week ended up running to the highs. So the overall move played out over them 2 weeks. Now, what happened in these weeks doesn't really matter because it was quite slow. That was the example of that week. I had two positions set. One off the weekly start of the week, Monday. One we had set up on Monday. Took that off on Monday afternoon. Then we saw a confirmation on Thursday. Friday added to the winning position. Over the next week and a half, 2 weeks, we saw a 2.8R and a 2.99, so 3R. So we had about 5.5, 6R of winners. For me coming on, half an hour a day, writing up what's happening, keeping in touch with what's happening in the market, identifying can we hold this trade, and obviously there was no signs of any downside move. Price respected higher highs and higher lows. We continued to move up and we took out the current yearly high. But the game changed when I started to trade limits rather than actively trading because I'm setting up for the day. This is an area price to come into today and that would give me a good risk to reward. I can take 2R or more, and if it is more than 2R then great. And there I've sat out, not even had to look at the charts. I could have just, the next 2 weeks I had two positions for buys, sat out completely, ran straight up to the highs, bish bash bosh, done. Easy. 6R then in that period, what was that, end of May coming into June? And that's how you really maximize the moves on the higher time frames, by sitting out most of the time and letting your trades run. And you don't have to overanalyze it. You're coming on half an hour a day. The only way I would take off these moves if we saw a weekly bearish candle confirm that engulfed the bullish confirm. That's it. So that's the way I trade, and that will give you more insights into how you could potentially set up your weeks, whether you trade any dollar pairs or you're on indices. It works for anything. As long as you understand how price moves. Do we look to take out previous weekly lows? That would be a different style of entry, but the same principle applies. As long as you're getting confirmations in trend, you can play this very easily. If any of you guys are worrying and trading too much, pull it back. Take a few trades a month. Take the best setups. You don't have to worry about trading too much. The loss streaks will be less, and overall you will do better. I can guarantee that. So if you guys are interested, just look for yourself and have a little go. I hope the way I view things can help some guys out that are struggling, because I've gone through it all, and a lot of traders would prefer to trade in the day, 4 hours a day. Go for it. That's not really up to me whether you do that. This is just what works for me. I'm never going to tell someone how to trade, because there's unlimited ways of making money. So hope you guys enjoyed. Take care. See you in the next one. Peace out.